Okay, we are on week 3 now, but I'm not going to go to it. I'm going to first go down to where you will find your paraphrasing mini lesson. And it's on Little Seagull. So let's click on that. Click on it again. And one of the reasons I'm showing this to you is because it's in section R, and these are not alphabetical. It's according to what the main thing is that it talks about. And this is writing, so those are W. But research is where we're going to go, and we are going to go to R4. Now, we're not going to start there. We're going to, and plagiarism is definitely something that we need to talk about, or you should read about, but you don't want to take someone's words and present them as your own, because it can get you a 0 on an assignment. And repeated use, you could be disciplined academically by perhaps being booted out of the class. But in real life, it could cost you millions of dollars that you don't have when somebody comes after you and says, you know what, those are not your words. They were from my book entitled whatever. And then they show proof that they were their words and you didn't give credit to them. So the only question is, how much are you going to owe them? So we don't want to do that. So if you noticed, the second page is 142. So this must be 141. And this is where we're going to start. I'm going to go ahead and read this. It's only a page, well, 2 pages. And I will stop along the way and discuss some things with you, emphasize some of these things. So here we go. When you paraphrase, you restate material from a source in your own words, using your own sentence structure. Now, I'm going to do this. You don't want it to look anything like what you're trying to paraphrase. You're going to move the order of the sentence around. Paraphrase when the source material is important, but the original wording is not. Pardon me. Because it includes all the main points and details of the source material. I'm sorry, I had to pause because I was coughing, but pardon me. Because it includes all of the main points and details of the source material, a paraphrase is usually about the same length as the original. Let's highlight that. Important. All right. Now, again, I mentioned this earlier when I was showing you how to make piles for the note cards. People confuse that with a summarization. Summarizations are shorter. And if you want to get even shorter than that, you give the main idea. But the paraphrase is the most wordy, I guess I would call it. I don't like that because wordy means, to some people, means that you have a lot of extra words you don't need, but you do need to still cover all of the main points. So as I will show you, or I did show you on that card, my paraphrase was 2 words longer than the original quote. So keep that in mind. You're going to write as much in that box on your note card as you are in the quote. So here's an excerpt from a source followed by a paraphrase. So here's the original source. I'm going to make this just a bit bigger. Here we go. Okay. In 1938, a series of now classic experiments, exposure to synthetic dyes derived from coal and belonging to a class of chemicals called aromatic amines, was shown to cause bladder cancer in dogs. These results helped explain why bladder cancers had become so prevalent among dyestuffs workers. With the invention of mauve, which is kind of a purplish pink, pardon me, pink, in 1854, synthetic dyes began replacing natural plant-based dyes in the coloring of cloth and leather. By the beginning of the 20th century, bladder cancer rates among the group of workers had skyrocketed, and the dog experiments helped unravel this mystery. By Sandra Steingraber, who wrote Pesticides, Animals and Humans, page 976. Now, I want to use this in my paper, but I don't want to put a big old quote in there. So I want to get the same idea across. And so we go through here and we look. Okay, we know probably that is important. Exposure to. Okay, so synthetic dyes were belonging to this. Okay, I would think that's very important. I think this is very important too. Bladder cancer in dogs. Okay, helped explain. Bladder cancers had become so prevalent with dyestuff workers, people who worked with it with their hands. It was seeping into their pores, into their skin. With the invention of mauve in 85, okay, so I'm going to put that, synthetic dyes began replacing natural plant-based dyes, okay, in the coloring of cloth and leather. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. Have that quite right. Okay, here we go. All right, by beginning of the 20th century, so that would be in the 1900s, that could be another way that we decided to say it. Bladder cancers among this group has skyrocketed, and dog experiments helped unravel this mystery. Okay. Now, there are a few things that I want to put over here because I want to make sure that I'm connecting this right here, that when in 1854, I want to put a comment here. So I'm going to click. I don't know if you noticed, but this pops up and it lets me make a note. So I want to say bladder cancer among synthetic dye stuffs is what it was. It's in, dye stuff, because remember, up to that point they had been using natural color, like I guess ink from octopus or octopi, or I don't know, but it was more natural, not synthetic. Bladder cancers among workers skyrocketed. I want to see if by 1900s. Okay, I do want to say that. Oh, whenever there is a red line, please look and see what it's telling you. Let me right click and see. Well, it's not saying anything there, but it would if it were in the body over here. Skyrocketed. There we go. All right, then click it. And you can either keep it like that or you can scrunch it back up again. And then you can come back and look at it. That's probably all I would put over there. Maybe dog experiments. Okay, I don't want that there. Hold on. Let's see where it put it. Dog experiments. I want to do that. No, I don't want to do it there, but I guess I'm going to have to. Let me go down and just say dog experiments. It's saying it's in the same paragraph, I suppose. So that's why I just put it under one comment. Dog experiments led to the cause of bladder cancer in early 1900s. Isn't that the same thing as saying early 19th? Oh no, I don't think we're in the 19,000s yet. So okay, so I've got that. I might want to come back and make sure these things that I've highlighted and these comments are in there somewhere, perhaps. Okay, now this is what a person, now let's do, it won't let me do a word count, but if you notice, they're about the same length. Biologist Sandra Steingraber, okay, so see, that was way down here, explains that path breaking experiments, okay, path breaking, see, that's her own words, demonstrated that dogs exposed to aromatic amines develop cancer of the bladder. Okay, so that, yeah, I should have put that in there because bladder cancer was still on the rise before synthetic was put in there. So, okay, I'm going to put among dye stuff workers who handled natural dyes. Let's see, that was in 19. Okay. Prior to and during 1938, I mean, that's just logical. Presented with bladder cancer. I'm going to say a significant number because it had to be enough that they would do experiments. Okay, bladder cancer among a significant number of workers. Stuffs workers was rising. Okay. To and during 19. Okay. All right. By the oop, 1854. Bladder cancers among synthetic dye substances skyrocketed. Okay. Then I just say dog experiments led to. Okay, here we go. All right. So this person said, brought out the 1938. They talked about the aromatic amines. I chose not to, but they were also getting that. And I probably should go put textile industry. A lot of us would presume if you're doing cloth and leather, you're going to be in the textile industry, but I would go ahead and put that in there. After mauve, because that seems to be the color mauve was created. Okay. Let me put synthetic there. Okay. By in the textile industry was rising. Okay, so they did that, and then they talked about after mauve in 1854. That was made, they replaced the natural, which I could have said made from plants. But whether the dye was from plants or synthetic dyes, they still, bladder cancer rose. And then it mentions the author again. And then, of course, this is very important. The dogs are the ones that showed, or the experiments with dogs revealed what was causing the bladder cancers. So if you look, these two are essentially saying the same. Let me go back. Okay, let me go back. Okay, so we're staying in 4C. So essentially, they're saying the same thing, because we know that she is a biologist, but where does it say in here that she's a biologist? I mean, I did not know that, so someone had to have looked that up. Path-breaking experiments in 1938. She got that. She's got the dogs exposed to those, which I chose not. Okay. She put all of this was invented there. I'm going to keep on going. We did not put that part in. And we didn't say when this happened in the textile industry, but you can presume in the early 1900s, high rates. And that was with plants and synthetics. And then this is very important here. So essentially it's saying the same, but she did not use, or the paraphrase did not use the same words. Okay, so go back and look and see what they did there. Now, see two examples that demonstrate some of the challenges of paraphrasing. See, I left a couple of things out myself. The paraphrase below borrows too much of the original language or changes it, I'm sorry, or changes it only slightly, as the words in the paraphrase is highlighted in yellow. Okay, so if we go up here, we're going to go back and look at this. Is the sentence structure the same? Well, it doesn't really, it does not start out, doesn't even put 1938 there. Derived from coal, prevalent among workers. So I don't think that this person even said prevalent, but just go back and read this and see that really, and I think it's a bit shorter than the original. There were things that were repeated, like skyrocketing. I don't know, maybe I would say proliferating would be a good one. Okay, this one is almost identical to the top one. You don't want to do that. Okay, so then this one uses different language, but it follows the format of the original too closely. You don't want to do that. So the next paraphrase uses different language, but follows, yeah, okay. It can be a challenge to write a paraphrase without inadvertently copying some of the original text wording or sentence structures, especially when you're paraphrasing complex or unfamiliar ideas. And that's definitely one. die in the textile industry connected to bladder cancer. One common mistake many writers make is to start by copying a passage directly from a source and then copying and pasting it and going in and changing it. You can't do that. Adding some words or deleting some words, replacing others with synonyms, altering the sentence structures. This is what is called patch writing. We don't want to do that. We don't want to copy this up here, paste it on a piece of paper and say, scientist so and so explains that well, you could find a synonym for path breaking. It could be, oh, that's that. Now, classic experiments. You could say game changing experience, but that person will go in and just take certain phrases out and go in and redo it. But what I would tell you to do is first go through and highlight what's important. Now, I did leave some stuff out. Okay. And I had to go back in. Now, you're not going to have that luxury. You're just going to have to go back and look at your original and don't copy and paste it. Just take out all the important information and then rewrite it. You can do that on a Microsoft Word. Or if you want to copy this up here, the original, and put it on a Word document, I would skip a couple of lines and look at, first of all, highlight everything that needs to be in that new one that you're going to write and start from scratch below it. That's what I would suggest. You don't, when I say patchworking, you don't want to have that on the assignment that I'm about to give you. Okay, so after patch writing, we're going to, patch writing is, and it shows you more things there, what it really is, if you want to look at that. Patching together passages from another source. Even if the source is documented, patch writing is considered plagiarism. All right. To avoid problems of this kind, read over the original passages you're paraphrasing carefully, but do not look at them while you are writing. Okay, read it, then write down what you remember. Okay, and start out your paraphrase that way. Use your own words and sentence structure. If you use any words from the original, put them in quotation marks and be sure to indicate the source. The wording may be yours, but the ideas and information come from another source. Name the author and include the documentation, which probably in an in-text citation, it would be the author's last name and a space and the page number, if there is a page number. Most of the time there is. If you get an HTML document, it's rare, but sometimes they'll have page numbers. All right, so read this very carefully. So, in other words, they're not telling you what I told you to do. They're saying you need to read this, read it a couple of times, don't look at it, go over to a piece of paper and put it in your own words. So you may not even remember anything until it gets to bladder cancer and textile dye stuffs. Dyes stuffs workers. You can tell I'm not familiar with this either. And notice I did make some mistakes. So go back over it and make sure that you got most of it anyway. Okay. Now, going to go over to your assignment. Okay, now I am in your shell, that's what I call it. And so I'm on week 3 on October 30th. There's the mini lesson, and right above that, I haven't uploaded it yet, but I'll have this video there. And this you will do. You will click on this. All right. And you will, well, you might not see. Click on this. Okay, then you will go to, it'll open this up. Okay, here is your original paragraph. And you are, I'm going to do this. It will not save that way. Then you are going to read it, then come back over and rewrite it the way you remember, and then go back and see if there's anything that you left out. Okay. Same on this one. And then paraphrase it. So what you can do once you're in here, go over here. Let me go back over. Okay. So go ahead and save that. I'd probably put your paraphrasing and then you could put your last name. So I'll go to Antonio, is Catalina's last name. And where you store it is up to you if you're using a virtual one, or I usually do mine in documents and just save it. Then once saved, this. Stop that for just a second. Okay, so once you've saved it, let me bring the screen back up and go over here. Okay, and okay. Okay, when you go to the paraphrasing practice, and I'm so sorry if I am repeating information, but I had turned off the recorder and not noticed that. So when you go here, and you won't be able to see it, well, I'll go ahead and make that visible to you today. Click on paraphrasing practice. Click on this document here, and it'll download. So let me go to a new share. It will download. So you go up and you file, you save as, and then I would just I'd keep it like that and then put an underscore and your last name. And if you are Catalina, she puts Antonio, then wherever she wants to save it is fine. Okay. So that's done. Let's go back to our screen. Okay, so there we are there. Let me resume. Oh, okay. Let me go here, new share. We'll go back to our screen. This is it. Okay. So you're going to put your paraphrase in there on both of those, and then you are going to hit upload, and you're going to upload your practice assignment, the two original paragraphs, and you will paraphrase each one of them. Okay.